Okay, it's recording. Just looking for Christine. Even though it says Brian. Hi, Christine. Oh, it's Christine and Brian.
Hiya.
How you doing?
Hello. All right, thank you. It worked. Yay.
Oh, yes. I got both of you tonight. Hi, Brian.
Looking very relaxed there.
Yeah. We are very chill.
Where are you? Whereabouts are you?
Peterborough, UK.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
down the road.
Yeah, just down the road.
Nearby. We could almost touch each other, couldn't we?
If you were allowed to, yes.
Where are you based, Yasmin?
I'm in Manchester.
Oh, we know God, Manchester, yeah.
All right, yeah. So actually, I'm in Peterborough tomorrow.
Yeah, fantastic.
Some people move abroad, you know.
I know.
Who would do such a silly thing? This is the problem we're about. It's like the time's ticking, and
That's okay.
I did think though, if it was going sort of really, really well, Christine knows, because Christine's in my tarot reading class, and we have this 40-minute limit. So 40 minutes, you know, and we just literally, we get to 40 minutes, we click on the link again, we come back in again. If it is going super well and people have got lots of questions, I can easily just say, because the meeting will end, they can just click on that link again. But only if it's, you know, rocking and rolling. I don't want it to drag on too much, so that people nod off to sleep.
if I go like this.
I know, if you start looking a little bit late.
Well, he's not too sure. He's sort of like got a little
Brian's hiding. Why are you hiding, Brian? There you go. That's better.
Hey, there's no hiding.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm interested, but not interested.
Oh, I see. So hence you were kind of like half on the camera, so you can just keep half in here.
I'm a bit like one of your cats, half and half, really.
And that's actually curious, is really good.
Yes.
You know, and thinking, is this what I think it is, or is it? Well, do you know, I'm here and I'm going to find out. So well done, you.
Caroline.
How do you guys know each other then? You said tarot.
Actually, Brian used to be an IT client of John's. Back in Hi, Caroline. Have you joined us with video off? And your audio?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. I did say everyone had the option, and you know, because I said about everyone might have bad hair days. So.
Scary.
I can't see how to turn it on. There's no options.
Oh well, that's okay. It's not essential if you.
Hit it.
Oh, there you go. Hey. There you go. We can see right up your
Am I there?
How you doing?
Oh, I can't see anything.
We can see you.
But you can see us, right?
Share content, mute.
You can see us. Can you?
Usually at the bottom. Usually at the bottom somewhere.
It'll
say video on. Or
video.
You've got video on.
Yep. I've got just a black box in the corner.
Oh, that's interesting. But we can see you. When you had your video off, could you see us?
No.
Oh, but you can hear us.
Yeah.
Oh, there comes Sally, and then Admin Sally. I'm gonna have to talk fast.
Oh.
Hey, Sally. Hi. Oh, this is great fun. I've never had 5 people in a Zoom before. Okay, I'm gonna give it 1 more minute, and then I'll start, because I don't want us to get caught. I only have a free Zoom account, so it's limited to 40 minutes, which is probably just as well, so I don't go droning on for hours. But we'll try and fit in. Oh, Caroline, I think we're seeing your countertop at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
That's more like it. We can see you.
Yeah, I can't. I've got a completely black screen. That's odd.
I don't know.
Video's not enabled by the sounds of it.
Yeah. On the bottom left-hand corner, there's a mute with a little microphone, and then a little video which says, well, mine says stop video, obviously, because it's doing video at the moment, on the bottom left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, actually, it's the top right. But yes, it says stop video, but that's not crossed or anything. So
the camera, is it the camera?
Look at more chat meeting sessions. Raised hand.
That's the point, actually. Is someone mentioned about the camera? Is the camera covered at the back?
Oh, whoops. Oh.
She's frozen now as well.
No. Yeah, I wonder if that's...
Everybody turn to the left.
Now, I'm being funny, but can you see the dog?
We can see a wooden carving on the wall.
Oh, no, that's up there. Right.
No, but can you see us at all?
No, nothing. Completely blank screen.
Oh. I had to. When I clicked on the link, nothing. It said that I couldn't do it. So I have a Zoom. I have a Zoom app. So I had to go to the Zoom app and put in the meeting number and the password.
Oh, that's a pain. Yeah, because normally you can just click on it.
No, it didn't work.
No, it doesn't work on iPads, I think. You have to go into Safari and but I went into, I've got the Zoom app on my iPad and I went into that, but.
Okay, well, something to bear in mind for future then. Okay. Well, I'm going to start because it's 9 minutes in. So like I said, I've only got a free account and I'm limited to 40 minutes. So I've got my notes. So I'll make sure I don't leave anything out. So, right, for those of you who are going to watch afterwards, I'm recording the session so I can upload it, and people who weren't able to watch it tonight can watch it afterwards. So for those who don't know me, my name is Colleen from Authentic Pathways. I'm a nutritional advisor, Reiki practitioner, and life coach. And tonight's focus is on Reiki because I've had quite a few queries from people asking about what Reiki is and how it works and what it's all about. And I wanted to do it properly so that people could really get a gist instead of just a chat on live. And I had the idea to bring along Yasmin, who was actually, I have two levels of Reiki, and she was my trainer and teacher for both. So Reiki, I just called you Reiki there, Yasmin. So Yasmin's over in the UK, sitting in Manchester, in Cambridgeshire. And she's joining us tonight to give a take on her side from the teaching perspective and other bits and pieces. So welcome, Yasmin.
Thank you.
So I thought I would start first of all with what is Reiki, and I've got a very nice quote off the UK Reiki Federation website, and the UK Reiki Federation is kind of the governing body for Reiki and practitioners in the UK. I'm going to read it off my board here. So it says, Reiki is defined as a healing technique based on the principle that the therapist can channel energy into the patient by means of touch to activate the natural healing processes of the patient's body and restore physical and emotional well-being. And that's also in the Oxford Dictionary as a definition. So basically what it is that Reiki is an energy clearing technique that allows the body to heal itself. So our bodies can become sick or blocked through stress or, life events. And when our energy becomes blocked, we become ill. And this is a way of clearing those blockages to allow the body to heal itself. It was discovered by a Japanese man called Mikao Usui back in the early 20th century. And it's been practiced certainly in the Western world since the late 1990s. It is, it's not a replacement for traditional medicine. It's sort of a complementary therapy. I'll get on a bit later as to what it actually does and why it why it itself doesn't heal, but I'll come to that in a bit. It's not a religion. You don't have to believe something specific in order to practice it, receive it, be trained in it. It's not a spiritual following or anything like that. There's no dogma or anything like that. It's also always done for the highest intention of the person involved. And it is also always done with permission. So you can't just Reiki somebody from afar, you know, and Reiki doesn't work negatively. It's not like you can send somebody some bad energy. That's not what it's about. Just looking at my notes.
You're doing really well. I trained you well.
I was so desperate not to leave anything out, you know, because I just want to make sure I make this clear. Right, so I have also some scientific evidence, which I must say I was quite excited to receive. I mean, I know I believe in Reiki, and I know the people, Yasmin obviously, who believes in Reiki, but to actually read that there's been some scientific evidence was very exciting. I tend to go to John for help in this area because it hints a lot at the quantum physics world, on the premise that energy is everywhere. And everything is interconnected, and if something happens here, it can happen there, as it does in quantum physics. Apparently that's helping people understand how Reiki works. But anyway, so there's just two phrases here which I've taken. There were many others, but these were for me sort of the most important and the simplest, because this isn't a science lesson. When giving Reiki, practitioners have been shown to emit electromagnetic energy from their hands. The frequency of the energy emitted appears to correspond to those that medical researchers have identified as being the optimum frequencies for stimulating the healing process of the body, which is fantastic. I would love to be able to see little balls of yellow light. The same energy flowing from a practitioner's hands have been shown to induce current flow in the cells of individuals who are in close proximity, but is not shown by non-practitioners of energy healing techniques. So it shows that people who have that Reiki ability, something really is happening. I found that really exciting. I called John over and I was like, look, it's scientific. Right, so how does it work? So on the basis that everything is energy, the word Reiki actually stands for universal energy. So the word ki you might be familiar with in Chinese medicine, I think it is. And a practitioner is basically a conduit for that energy. So the practitioner isn't doing any healing or unblocking, and the Reiki energy is merely using the practitioner as a conduit to flow into somebody's body. And that person then allows, because you can refuse it, that person then allows that energy to start doing its unblocking process. That sounded a bit weird. That makes sense though, right? There are two different ways to do it. You can do it in person, or you can do it via a distance. And the reason it works via a distance is because of this energy and everything being interconnected. When you do it in person, you can do it laying down on a bit like a massage bed, like if you were going for a massage, or you can do it seated. So it's nothing fancy, and also you don't have to don any operating gowns or anything. You can do it in your normal clothes, And also there is also sometimes a misconception that you have to touch the person. I remember when I did my training with Yasmin, it was always very ask permission before you do the Reiki if the person is comfortable being touched, or if they just prefer you holding your hands just directly above the person. So there's not necessarily any touch if that's something that makes you feel uncomfortable. You're going to be so relaxed after it anyway. It's going to feel so wonderful. Right, you can do Reiki on yourself. Yasmin and I chatted early on, and we both said that we would be giving ourselves some Reiki before the Zoom, just certainly for me, because my adrenaline goes sky high. You can do it on others, obviously, once you've reached practitioner level. You can do it to animals, which most of you know is something I'm very interested in. Or you can send it to situations. The UK Reiki Federation often has requests for Reiki practitioners to get together and send Reiki to a worldwide situation, you know, when there were fires in Australia or, you know, something like that. So you kind of all get together and send Reiki that way. I've said about that you always need permission. I think I've gone through everything on my list. I don't think I've left anything out, because I mentioned the bit about being. Yeah, no, I think that's my bit done. Yasmin, did that all make sense? I didn't leave anything out. I know we chatted about this earlier on, and we were kind of pulling in bits from everywhere.
You gave, some real factual, scientific-based stuff there. So some people might think, oh, it's just woo-woo, but actually it's regulated. There's professional bodies, there's scientific studies that, you know, are proven. So there is a lot of evidence-based stuff, and Reiki's been used in hospitals, in so many different fields now. And so you covered from where it started. So actually it's ancient, but it had got lost, and it was the Japanese Buddhist that actually rediscovered it and developed it. So no, you did. So you said about developing it. So he developed it into a system where then, it came about with the hands-on healing, releasing of blockages, and it's grown. And now there's over 40,000 teachers.
Wow.
So from a practitioner going up 3 stages to a teacher, so you can teach others. That's how many. So you're talking hundreds of thousands at practitioner level.
And I think lots of people are starting to become more aware of it as well. Sort of, you know, beforehand it was kind of just an alternative therapy, but I see now it's being offered in quite a few hospitals, and even in churches. I know that there's a Christian foundation that use it as well, which is interesting, because it just goes to show that it's not a religious thing, which some people falsely believe.
And I think people are open to embracing Eastern and Western, and actually sometimes having that variety of things available, that they, if they haven't found too much success with something, they might want to try something else. So the fact there are more and more people talking about alternative methods that can be linked with the Western, because Reiki actually works with the body's glands and organs, as well as the energy systems as well, to bring about a mind, body, spirit healing, reducing those blockages, creating more of a natural flow of energy through. So, what did you experience? Any changes for you?
There were lots of things.
I think there were a few, weren't there?
Yeah, there were lots of things. I can actually remember when I did my Reiki practitioner qualification. Part of that is having to do case studies. Okay, this isn't something that happened to me personally, but I had to have people, and a plant, case studies for my practitioner course, and John was one of my case studies, and he was very patient and open, and laying down on the bed, and did my thing, and all the time I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I'm doing this right, and I have to remember notes for Yasmin, and afterwards, and I said to John, how was that for you? Very careful not to put words in his mouth, and he was like, that was really odd, and I was like, odd in a good way. and I just remember him saying he felt like he was a massive tube of toothpaste that was having all the tension squeezed out of him, and I thought, oh, how wonderful. And I know I often tell that story because it just goes to show how relaxed. In fact, Yasmin, yes, I remember I had to come, before I enrolled on the course with you, I had to come as a prerequisite to have a Reiki session so that I could experience it for myself before I enrolled on the course. And I do remember that because I was so spaced out afterwards, because I was so chilled out and relaxed. Do you remember I still had to sit there and hold the hematite crystals to try and make me kind of come down? It is super relaxing.
But this is a valid point, is that you don't have to believe in it.
No.
I did not believe in Reiki. 25 years ago, civil servant working in London, no time for any woo-woo stuff, thank you very much. You know, and was taken for a lunch break by a friend, and she said, well, even if you're going to sit in this presentation, and I just felt this, and I couldn't explain it, you know, and then of course I found that the word Reiki was popping up. I thought, why is that coming into my vision? Because I'm very analytical as well. So for me, I need evidence. But by that was experiencing, and experience showed me I was feeling a change for the better, more relaxed, you know, and not so stressed. Yes, and that made me curious. So yes, I've seen a lot. So my journey has taken me to Bosnia, working with war veterans and torture victims there, from people that, you know, you can't even go near and they're doubled up, to actually after 2 or 3 sessions to making eye contact, to straightening up, to feeling more relaxed. And that's the bottom line. There's a common thing there, is that Reiki treatments always bring about a sense of peace. And relaxation.
Absolutely.
So that can be from somebody that's, you know, having a meltdown in the office or something, and you know, you could put your hand behind them and it brings about a sense of relaxation. You could send Reiki, as you said, with world situations. We have also, as a teacher, I run Reiki share groups. That means a whole bunch of Reiki healers get together, and we build up a flow of Reiki, and then we send it with intention over to a number of people that we want to send it to. Now, you could, at one time I would have thought, yeah, sure, right? But what is your reality is the feedback that you get. Or sending Reiki to somebody who, like yourselves, I, you know, might just say, oh, Caroline, would you like to receive some Reiki later on today at 8 o'clock? Or we could program it. Now this is getting a bit woo-woo, isn't it? Program it to flow while you're asleep between 10 p.m. and 5 p.m. Would you like that? Right? Yeah, and you're probably thinking, program it. So there you are. So in the morning, I would probably ring you up at a decent time and say, Caroline, so how are you feeling today? And you might say to me, which I've heard a lot, is, I feel really relaxed. I slept so well and I can't explain it. Did you have Reiki last night? You know, but then there will be people who have been sent, when I've done charity events, have been sent by their other halves because they're stressed up, and they say, I don't believe in any of this stuff, you know.
You don't have to believe in it, just take a seat.
Thank you. So you don't have to believe in it, but you are the way that you become enabled as a channel for this. I'm calling it healing because it's an enabler of energy to shift things through you. Is to be like a radio tuned into a frequency, and that is by a sacred ceremony. So don't know, you're not running around naked around trees or anything like that. You know,
honest, that is true, promise.
We'll talk about that later.
No funny stuff.
There is the attunement, so you do have a ceremony, and that is basically someone who's already been tuned into that frequency. Like a radio, if you've got it crackling, you're not exactly rightly tuned in, but when you've got the strong communication, that's when your master teacher has tuned you in to also receive the same frequency that runs through you.
It's great.
My favourite subject now.
I was
Does anybody do Reiki? Does anybody do Reiki here?
No, I didn't know much about it. So
I didn't know much about it at all, and I find it all, quite. Yeah, there's a lot to think about. What I've been listening to, because before I would have thought, no, how does that work?
Mm.
But after listening to the both of you, it's got me thinking. I used to do, many years ago, I used to do Tai Chi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if is that something where I know you had, you had this energy, the chi, and you did the form, and you had that feeling. So I don't know is it similar or?
I don't know. I don't know enough about
it
Tai
is.
Chi. Do you know?
Chi is energy.
Yeah, because Chi is
you're moving energy, but here you're not directing energy. You're allowing it to flow through you, and it's the person or the situation that is then drawing it into them. Higher levels of Reiki, that's when you become more, you get an expanded flow of this energy through you, but you become more responsible, so you learn how to direct specific energy for emotional healing, past life healing, ancestral healing, planetary healing. So it's never right at the beginning. The beginning is getting you tuned in, so you don't levitate, so you're But are there any questions? What questions might there be? Sorry, Colleen, I'm taking over.
Sorry, Caroline. Yeah.
I was going to say, what sort of conditions would you recommend it for?
Everything.
I mean, is it sort of things like depression, or can it be a physical injury?
I would say anything. I know physical. I've used it sometimes for physical. Yes. In fact, I used it for physical. I said to Yasmin just before we dialed on this call, I was having serious palpitations for some reason. I was so nervous, but I gave myself Reiki, and yes, it did go away. I've not used it for a specific physical condition. Yasmin, you might have in your experience.
I have, because there's been a variety over the years and different scenarios. So one condition, and it was actually my cat, Tabitha, and she had cancer on her nose, so it was eating away her nose, and it was talking about some serious cutting off nose, and so I concentrated on doing Reiki and actually programmed the Reiki, right? And this went on, and her nose started to change, in that it was going back into a healthy nose. Now, we're not allowed as Reiki practitioners to say we can heal or Reiki will. But if you think about your body is enabled, its resources of positive healing is enabled, right? It's stronger, your immunity is stronger. And so the vet was gobsmacked, saying, I don't understand. And I said, well, we've been doing healing. So that has been with a physical condition. I've seen other physical, because I've worked with cancer and multiple sclerosis, different groups, where I've seen people feel more enabled. Now, whether that is, are we just physical, or are we emotional, mental? There's all those different parts, isn't there? So Reiki goes to the whole of you. So if there's some, clearing on one level, it's going to filter through to the other. I've seen too many cases of recovery, enhancement, but we're not allowed to say Reiki heals.
No.
Right.
Yeah. But you have to experience. You really have to. If you've not experienced Reiki, get yourself booked in with somebody.
Well, I would say actually on that note, because there's not that many people here, and these people that are here in this session now, I would be more than happy to offer a free Reiki session. I've just got my 10-minute warning for time running out, so just be warned.
It's gone so quickly.
I know. Sally and Caroline, I'm more than happy to give you a taster session if that's something.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
And then, of course, Christine, hopefully I shall see in September. Border crossings permitted.
Hello. Distance healing.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, unless you want to go to Yasmin. Of course, sorry.
Distance healing. You can program.
I could do it by distance. No, I could do it by distance. Yes, I could. I know, but it's just because I know them and I know they're coming to visit. But yes, I would be more than happy to do that. I also wanted to say, it's also good to not have expectations. I know I've heard of some people like, oh, well, you know, what am I going to feel when I'm having a Reiki session? And there's no way for us to know. I know personally as a practitioner, sometimes my hands get unbearably hot. And sometimes the patient, the client, the patient, I don't know, will feel it, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes my hands get very, very cold. Sometimes they tingle. Sometimes I will get images into my head. But the person, you know, there's no pressure. Whatever happens, you are going to come out of it relaxed at the very least. So I don't want people to think, oh, if I go in, you know, am I going to feel heat from her hands? Oh, gosh, I haven't felt it. Is it working? That's not how it works. You will come out feeling relaxed, and, you know, what the energy decides to happen at the time, we've got no control over. So
I think what's really fabulous, it is so portable, you know, that you can give yourself break just a short 5 minutes, right, to feel calm if you're feeling a little bit anxious. If you've got a crying baby, God knows how many crying babies I was given. You hold the baby, it just flows, and the baby, so suddenly you become the most popular baby holder.
Carry babies. Yeah, I to all the parties, Yasmin.
If you've got a scared animal, you know, by holding your hands, right, that the energy flows there, and you see the animal calming down as well. So it's non-invasive, you know, and it is a natural method. You've just got to just experience and make up your own, you know, assumption as to what it feels like, because there are all those different sensations, you know. And well, what were you going to say, Sally?
Is it similar to shiatsu? Is it shiatsu or?
Well, shiatsu is about pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, and is that similar, the way that you're trying to release blockages of energy?
Yeah, it's all about releasing blockages of energy, but with this one, right, we can send Reiki energy into past stuff. So if we've suffered, say, some an unhappy childhood, and it's affected us in our current life, that we can send healing energy back to that time to bring positive energy into our timeline now. And we can also send positive energy, the flow of energy, to a future situation. So if you've got, well, look at COVID, right? We could be sending Reiki into, you know, things that affect us through COVID. We can manifest things as well. So the potential is, there's so much more as well.
Yeah.
But I would say experience, you know, a lot of people offer 20-minute, you know, you could get in touch with a Reiki person and say, I really would like to experience a session. Do you do mini sessions? You know, just to try it out. Here we are. Are you taking bookings, Colleen?
I think it's fascinating. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I'm interested in. Yeah.
Oh, you're fully in the picture now.
Yes, Christine.
How do you feel? I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Is it Caroline's husband? Christine's husband.
Brian.
Yeah.
So he's fully in the picture now. So does this mean that he's been a bit interested.
Yeah.
He's taking it all in.
We can actually do it on each other.
Oh, you could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you still would need permission. Now, you know, even say if somebody's passed you a baby, they've decided the baby needs calming. So, because perhaps you can't speak, it's a baby, right? You would feel the Reiki being drawn from you. So the baby's saying yes in drawing it in as well. But working on each other or anybody is always seeking permission. Or if I see somebody rowing somewhere, I will not go like that, right, to scare them off. But my intention might be, I might have my hands low down like this, sorry, like that, and say that I intend that this Reiki flows, you know, into this situation,
rather than
if it's acceptable by those people. So on some level, you know, because energy, we don't see all energy, do we? There's auras and everything. So if it's not acceptable, it won't be received by them.
Okay.
It's the same with animals. Actually, when I do Reiki with animals, you seek permission from the animal, and you get a definite sense whether they're receptive to it or not. But yeah, that's Reiki for animals is something I would like to branch in at some point, but I'll keep you posted on that.
Did you do the one with the plants where you had a seed and a seed?
I did.
And Reiki'd one?
Yes, I did. Yes, and the one did grow bigger than the other. Yes, that was one of my case studies. Right, we're down to 3 minutes to go. So if there are any other questions, we might as well use up the full. I was really hoping. I thought, oh, there's 5 people. Maybe it'll let me have a little bit more time. But it's
okay. So if people wanted to learn to train, first of all, I say have a session. Most mind, body, spirit events usually happen all over the place. You go along, experience, talk to people there. But if you wanted to train, there's lots of people that are training, but make sure that they are master teacher. Some people offer this training over the airwaves, right? I don't. I like to be physically, I know COVID and all that, but my professional body, UK Reiki Federation, says that we have to be physically in contact
for the
to do the ceremony. So you can do it as evening classes. I do 6-week evening classes in a place called St Ives in Cambridgeshire. So some people do that type, or they do the 2-day training. So there's many ways. So don't think it's set. It's only ever one way. But have a treatment, because if you decide that you want to go ahead with it, it's nice to have met with that person to see whether it feels good. You know what it's like. If you meet someone, you might think, I don't even know them, but I don't want to know them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the energy speaking.
Brilliant.
But if there are any further questions as a result of this, Colleen, I'm quite happy, you know, together, if we just answer them on a post or something.
Absolutely. What I'll do when I'm done with this is I'll write up a post on the Facebook group and then ask for questions there. So if anybody has any questions there, then we can both answer them as and when. So we're down to less than a minute, so it's just I don't went so quickly. So Yasmin, I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining. And yes, you know where we both are if you have any questions. And Sally and Caroline, I will be in contact because it might be nice to give you a taster session. And then Christine, I'll sort you out when you get here, as it were.
I'm at Alton Gold Haze Starbucks tomorrow. See you there.
Right. Thank you all very much for joining.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your journey.